So the first thing I want you to remember when it comes to communication with another person, male or female, older or younger, is that, like the translation today, it is an interpretation through your reality. The first statement I want to make today to you is very important, and it's this. We either marry our homework or we give birth to it. I'm going to say it again. You either get married to your homework in life or you have it as your child. Your neshama comes into this world and it has a particular set of work. And it is going to get that work done no matter what. Now, many times, people feel like their life is easy, that they haven't had the challenges that will grow them. If you go to the gym and you lift the same 5 pounds for 10 years, you're not going to develop any more muscle. How do you make muscle? We make muscle by tearing, by pushing beyond what's easy for us. The muscle tears, and then it heals, and it's bigger, it's stronger. We work on our abs, well, not me, but some people work on their abs, or their thighs, not me either. And what they do is they do what's called resistance training. You understand what resistance training is? I don't know, I hope you get this. But life, my friends, is resistance training. And you know where you're going to get your most resistance? From your spouse or from your children. And if you treat your life like a spiritual gym, then you will be happy. Because every time you lift another weight or grow another muscle, you will feel a sense of dignity and pride. So what does this mean that you give birth to your homework or you marry it? Well, anyone who has a teenager can tell me that they understand there is a reason that animals often eat their babies. It's just a difficult phase. But I want to begin this by talking about why it is that we grow through our spouses. There is an idea in the Kabala that when a soul comes into the world, it is split. It's not split like this, it's split like this. One half will be the man, and one half will be the woman. And you will move through your life looking to find your zivug, your beshert. But because you're not split down the middle, instead you're split like this, the coming together will sometimes have some work involved. And the interesting thing is that is often why opposites attract. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, and then we'll make this point further. When I met my husband, I could not believe that he was able to be vulnerable. He goes through the world like this. Hit me. I can take it. And I go through the world like this. Oh yeah? I'm playing chess. I know what you're going to say. If you say this, I'm going to say this. And if you say that, then I'm going to say that. And if you say this, I'm going to say that. And everything is planned in advance and my fists are up. So of course I meet this. And I think, what a holy man. He's so honest. He's so vulnerable. He's so truthful. Through him, I can become a better person. I will marry him, and I will be less of a liar, and less of a manipulator, and less defensive, and less nasty, and I will become great. And 6 months into the wedding, I wanted to take the pillow and put it on his face and press when he was asleep, because I thought, how can anybody be so stupid? So defenseless, so feminine, so unpowerful. All of the things about him that I loved, I wanted to leave. I thought, you see why I couldn't bring him here today? He's here, you'll meet him. Don't tell him any of this. I was going crazy. He was not just the opposite of me. He was the things that I didn't truly value in life. Because you see, the way of the human being is to believe that the way you are is the right way to be. And the way other people are, that's very nice, but it was a huge problem. And we decided to go for marriage counseling. Has anyone in this room been for marriage counseling? This was 28 years ago. 28 years ago, and it cost $200 an hour. What is that? Like 6,000 pesos an hour? Like, and we were poor. And all of the money that we got on our wedding day, we used all of it. And the marriage counselor said to us, people get married within 2 IQ points of each other. And my husband said, Adrienne would say that she has the extra 2. And I remember learning through that process. One day, the counselor said, if I had to be stuck on an island with you, Adrienne, or your husband, I would pick your husband. I said, thank you, why? She said, because you could make a beautiful speech about getting off the island, but your husband could build a boat and get us off. You value language. You value words, communication, speech. Your husband values what he does with his hands, with his eyes. He's an artist. He's a builder. And you think that your intelligence is greater than his. But it is only relevant here. Because look at me. I come and speak to you, and you probably don't understand much of what I'm saying. But he could probably create something that you would understand. So it was interesting. The reason we started to go for counseling was because my husband was always late. Always late. I would say, what time will you be home? He'd say, I will be home. When do you need me home? I'd say, come home for dinner at 6. And he'd say, okay. 7 o'clock, no Jason. 8 o'clock, no Jason. 9 o'clock, 9:15, maybe he'd come in. And I would say to him, you're a liar. I can't trust you. I can't count on you. You're not an honest person. You don't tell the truth. So one day in marriage counseling, I said to the counselors, he's always late. And they said, well, what do you mean? And I said, well, I asked him to be home at 6. He says he'll be home at 6, and he's not home, and he doesn't call. And they were very smart, and this is what they said. They said, Adrienne, what did dinner time look like in your house growing up? And I said this. My mother, at 5:30, me and my sisters and my brother would be in the basement watching television. I don't know if they had the show here. It was called The Brady Bunch. You have it here? Yes. Okay, The Brady Bunch had 3 beautiful blonde girls. And me and my sisters, we would put white towels on our head. And we would pretend we were blonde. We would throw the towels like this as we watched it. At 5:45, my father's car would pull up in the driveway. My mother would go to the bathroom, she'd spray Shalimar. She'd put on her orange lipstick. She'd puff up her hair. She would answer the door, hi, honey. And she'd go, kids, dinner, come up now. And if you didn't come up for dinner, and you weren't at that table at 5:45, you didn't eat. And we would sit at the table, and my father would say, how was your day, Helen? How was your day, kids? To us, and we would have to answer. And that was our life. Don't worry about it. That's music, the sound of a baby. It's music. So, and if we weren't there, we wouldn't get fed. And that is what a man does. And my husband said, really? Because in our house, my father worked until the day was done for him. And when he got home, all of the children had had a bath, and they were ready for bed, and all my father had to do was kiss us goodnight, and dinner was waiting on a table with 2 candles, and my mother looked fabulous. And she would have dinner with him whatever time he got home. That's what a woman does. You see the problem here? When I learned Parshat Lech Lecha, go to yourself, go for yourself, I learned something very powerful. We know that God says to Avram, Lech Lecha, go to yourself, leave your country, leave your community, leave your father's house, and I will show you. And the rabbis often say, shouldn't it be backwards? Shouldn't it be the other way? Shouldn't it be, leave Mexico City? What street do you live on? Okay, leave Polanco. Leave Mexico City and Mexico. Leave all of Central America to a place I'll show you. Why is it backwards? And Chazal, our sages, tell us it's because it is hard to immigrate. Anyone who has immigrated knows it is hard. And it's even harder to leave your friends in your community where nobody knows you, where you walk into a room and no one says, oh, hi, you look wonderful, nothing. But the hardest place to leave of all is the voice in your head from your mother or father. Oh, your sister's the pretty one, you're the smart one, your brother's good at sports, you're creative, your paintings go on the refrigerator because you're talented, but you're good at math, and you have all of this in your head. And it has nothing to do with you. When you get married, Lech Lecha means creating a new self. Not his world, not your world, but a new world that works for both of you. And this is very hard because commitment, and this is the most important takeaway message of this talk, commitment does not begin until the day you want to leave. Let me say that again. Commitment does not begin until the day you want to leave the marriage. Just like courage. Ambrose Redmoon, an American poet, says, courage is not the absence of fear. Rather, it's the decision that something is more important than your fear. Commitment is not the feeling you have under the chuppah. Oh, he's beautiful. I don't want anyone else to touch him other than me. I don't want him to touch another girl other than me. We could make a great life. He's a good person. He's exactly what I need. That's not commitment. That's a joke. That is your hormones. That is the territorial part of you going, I don't want any other girl to have him. Love is a verb. It is not a feeling. Please know this. Your feelings lie. They are interpretations and translations. They are not truth. The word for love in Hebrew, ahava, what is the shoresh of that word? Hav, to give. Love is giving. It is an action word. Commitment is the same as love. Commitment does not begin until the day you want to take the pillow off the bed, put it on his face, and press. Commitment does not begin until the day that you see somebody else that you think, ah, I married the wrong man. That's my beshert. Here's a famous story. There was a king. He had 2 comedians in the court who would entertain him. They learned tricks to show the king, to give the king joy. One of the men taught his cat how to serve tea to the king. The cat could go on its back legs and hold a little silver tray with the cup and the milk and the sucra and everything. And he was going to walk it to the king. The other comedian was very jealous. He saw, this is a problem, because I can't beat this. And then he had an idea. The day came where they were showing their performance. The king sat in his throne beside the queen. There was the red carpet and the bugles and all of the banners. And suddenly, comedian one took his cat, put him by the curtain, opened the curtain, stood the cat on his back legs, and handed him the tray. The cat took one step. The other comedian reached into his pocket and pulled out a mouse, dropped it, and of course the cat dropped the tea and chased the mouse. This is the difference between people and animals. We don't have to chase the mouse. We can say to ourselves, like the cat cannot, we can say, oh man, I really want that mouse. Oh, that mouse looks delicious. What beautiful body that mouse has. And the face, so cute. And look at the tail going. Oh, you know, it's fabulous. I want to eat that so badly. I want it, but I made a commitment to the comedian. And he's trying to make the king proud of him. So even though I want to eat that mouse, I made a decision to do this. So I'm going to hold the tray even though I want that mouse, but I won't drop it. An animal can't do that, but a person can. That is the definition of commitment in a marriage. It means no matter how nice the mouse is, you don't drop the tray. That is commitment. It's not when you feel like you want to be there, it's when you want to go. Let me tell you a story. Some of you are probably familiar of the idea that Chazal teaches us that a man and a wife should be like one hand to the other hand. And let's say you're cutting something, a piece of bread, and you slice your finger by accident. You don't pick up the knife and punish this hand because you are the same body. You are one. Marriage is oneness. Now, imagine a man is in an accident. His leg is crushed under a truck. He's in pain. The doctor says to him, Mr. Smith, in order to save your leg, what we have to do is we have to give you a lot of plastic surgery. We have to break the legs again and fix them, straighten them, maybe 5 or 6 times. We give you skin grafts. We'll have to cover the sores. We'll have to take skin from other parts of your body. You will have years and years and years of physiotherapy, and sadly it will hurt. And you'll have to lose 50 pounds for a new lifestyle. And there is no guarantee, but if you do all of this, there is a good chance that we can save your leg. Or we can amputate. So what do you think Mr. Smith says? Of course. I'll do whatever I have to do. I am my leg. I don't want to give up my leg if I don't have to. So I have to fight. So I have to have surgery. So I have to suffer. This is who I am. This is what it is to truly be married according to Judaism. Unless there is gangrene. How do you say that in Spanish? Unless there is gangrene. If there is gangrene, there is a mitzvah in the Torah that you can divorce. Because the leg is killing you. But today, we do an amputation because we like someone else's hand better. Or because this hand isn't as nice as it used to be. Or because this leg has bruises, or it hurts, or I'm not happy, I'm not happy, I'm not happy. I don't feel happy. When my aunt went home to my grandmother, my buba from Poland talked like this. So my aunt goes home after 1 year, knocks on the door. My buba answers the door. She says, Ma, I want to come home. I'm not happy. And my buba says, happy? You think I'm happy? Go home and make dinner. And that was the end of it. And in our family, that was the marriage advice. If you were having a hard time, somebody would say, think I'm happy? Go home and make something. And slam the door. That was the way it worked. The bottom line is that you need all of the struggles. You don't grow from your husband's good qualities. You grow from his difficult qualities. What kind of person has to live with a difficult person? Someone kind, patient, loving, forgiving, accepting. That's who you want to become. And your partner is the vehicle to become great. Because life, ladies, is not by definition what happens to you. Greatness is how you act in the face of what happens to you. Many people have suffered. If you look, for example, at the original wedding that we learn about, the first shidduch that we learn about in the Torah, we learn about Yitzchak and Rivka. And something very interesting is said. It said, he married her, he brought her to his mother's house, then he loved her, then he was comforted for the death of his mother. What kind of mama's boy is this? He marries her and now he feels better his mom died? What is that? What they're trying to explain to you in the Torah is that love is not the prerequisite of marriage. Love is the result of marriage. Because love is not a feeling. That is infatuation. That's sex. That's all it is. Chemistry, hormones. I want you. I want you. And then, what does Judaism say? Eliezer went to find the perfect wife for Yitzchak. Yitzchak was like his mother Sarah. Sarah was very rigid. Sarah had what's called, the Kabala calls Gevura. Where's my Kabbalah teacher here? Okay. Sarah was Gevura, and her husband Abraham was Chesed. Chesed, kindness, is on the male side in the Kabbalistic tree of life, and Gevura, boundaries, is on the female side. What is an example of Gevura? If you were very, 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 very thirsty for coffee, and there was a huge container of coffee boiling, but you had no cup, what good is the coffee? The cup is the Gevura. It's the container that allows you to enjoy the chesed of the coffee. Yitzchak turned out like his mother. He was stiff, strong, Gevura. This is my flaw in life. My flaw. And when my husband and I, 18 years ago, started to study Torah together, and we read and learned this parsha, that was when we decided to become more involved with Judaism. Because he said, this is unbelievable. You're Sarah, and I'm Abraham. And I said, mm-hmm. And suddenly I understood, it's okay that we're opposites. What we need is something that ties us together. Kabbalah tells us in the Tree of Life that Sarah's Gevura and Abraham's Chesed meet in the middle with something called Tiferet, splendor, glory, beauty. My job with my husband was going to be to use his Chesed and my Gevura, and together we would find that. It didn't mean when Isaac married Rebecca and she was all Chesed and he was all Gevura, it didn't mean they were opposites. It meant she needed what he had and he needed what she had. And ladies, let me tell you, the thing that drives you the craziest in your husband, it's for you. Exactly for you. Hashem makes no mistakes. Unless you have gangrene, it's for you. And you know where you're going to get it even more? The children. The kid who you can't control. The one who doesn't seem to need you. Maybe you are, for example, maybe you are a very loving, touching person, very full of affection, and you want to hug, and then you have a child who doesn't like to be touched. Has anyone had that? Yeah. Non-tactile children. They're like, I have one son who all he wants, Mommy, give me a massage. He's 24 years old, give me a massage. Please give me a massage. 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, rub my back. My other child, if I try and touch him, he goes, hates it. One of them, I could kiss him all over his face. He's a Mexican. The other one, oh. So let me explain something to you. Who do you think I had the easier fit with in the beginning? The one who was like me. Who do you think I learned the most about love from? Why? Because I had to figure out how to get into his heart. He wasn't me. You know what happens when you marry you? It's just more you. It's called narcissism. It's looking in a mirror. It's expecting somebody else to be the same as you. That's not love. Love is not a feeling, it's a behavior. You give it. And you know, with our children, our husbands, they don't turn out, we want them out. But can you imagine getting up in the middle of the night, you got a baby, the baby's crying, the baby, you know what? The kid next door never cries. This one, you're out, and the next one, you're in. This one coughs all the time, but this one, you know, we don't trade our children. Why? Why do you think we accept our children's differences? Want to make a guess? Why is it easier for us to love them? I can't understand. What? What does that mean, they are ours? Because you think they're you. That's what it is. It's a mirror. And that's why when they act up, you get mad and embarrassed. That's a very bad reflection on me. Let me tell you something. They are not you. Your husband is not you. Your children are not you. Hashem gives everybody their own pekalach. Everybody gets their work in this world. The job of love, whether it's love of a spouse or love of a child, is to learn to give for the sake of giving. You know you can do it because you do it for your children. I give you an example. This is a story that I told in Israel, but it really matters to me. We have it backwards. We love our children the way we are supposed to love our husbands. And we love our husbands the way we should really love our children. Example. One day, my son, who's now 24, looking for women for him, my 24-year-old son, he looks like, he's very handsome. He looks like, who's that actor? He just left Jennifer, Ben Affleck. Looks just like Ben Affleck. Go ahead, everybody, open your Facebook and look for Tyler Davis for your daughters. Because I would like to live here. So if I marry him up. Okay. So Tyler is now 6 years old. And he has to go at night for swimming lessons at 6 o'clock. You probably got your kids swimming lessons, right? Yes. So 6 o'clock, now it's 4:30, and he asks for something, and I say no. And this is the first time he ever says this to me. I hate you. You're the worst mommy in the world. I wish I could live in this stupid house. I wish I wasn't in this stupid family. I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. This is the first time. And I went, you go to your room and you cannot come out until you're ready to say I'm sorry. Fine. Up the stairs he goes, slams the door. And I should just tell you, my husband is a contractor, and always he goes to the houses and people say, we're having some problems with the door frames upstairs. My husband says, oh yeah, That's the number one repair I do. Your children slam the doors. Oh no, yes they do. Yes they do. So he goes to his room. Now I look at my watch, and it's like 5 o'clock, and I'm thinking, I have to feed him before swimming lessons because, and those of you who have small children, if I take him swimming without the food, what's going to happen in the car on the way home? Right? And what's going to happen when I take him in the house? And he won't go to bed. So you know, when they're small, all you want is for them to go to bed. And when they're older, all you want them to do is to get up. Right? So I go upstairs, I knock on his door. Ty, are you ready to say you're sorry? No. Great. So I go downstairs, and I'm looking, it's 5:15, this is a problem. Let me see. I go back upstairs again. Ty, are you ready to say sorry to Mommy? No. I said, think about it for a minute and write it down on a piece of paper. No. Now I'm thinking, oh boy, now I'm in trouble because I have to feed him. I go back downstairs and I make his favorite dinner, which is a box of macaroni and cheese called Wacky Mac. I don't know if you have it in Mexico. Yeah? Loves Wacky Mac. You know, no, it has no nutrition. He loves it. I go back up to his room. I knock on the door. Ty, are you ready to say sorry? No. I said, I made Wacky Mac. There's silence for a minute. No. I said, just think about it in your head and come on downstairs for dinner. The door opens and down he goes. Now I want you to imagine my husband comes home from work and we have a fight about something. And he says to me, you are the worst wife in the world. I am so sorry I married you. I wish I hadn't been stuck in this stupid family. I cannot stand being married to you. And he goes up to his room and he slams the door. Now let's say we were supposed to go out for dinner that night or to a movie. Do you think I would be going upstairs going, no way. Honey, I made you a steak. I'm wearing a negligee. Maybe you'd like to come into our room for a few minutes before we go. What do you think? He'd be sleeping alone for a month. But why? What's the difference? So people say to me, the difference is he's an adult. He should know better. But we don't. We don't know better. We don't know better at all. Because I know when my child says, I hate you, he is reacting to his emotions and he doesn't mean it. And so I don't hold him responsible for everything, but I should. Because a child should be raised in order to prepare them to be the kind of husband or wife that will make a happy life. Our husbands, they deserve that kind of slack. Honey, I know you didn't mean what you said. I don't know what's going on, or why you're so tense, or why you've had such a bad day, but we have to work on it. What can I do to make it easier for you? Because I'm going to tell you, it's tough, but do you want love? If you want love, you should love your husband the way you love your child, and love your child the way you love your husband. Your child will grow up to be a man, and your husband will be your beshert. This is what we call a paradigm shift. I want to give you an example of a paradigm shift. In the concentration camps, after liberation, there was a young man. The young man was very angry at God, and he had a reason to be angry at God. One day, Rabbi Eliezer Silver, who was a beautiful admiral in the U.S. Army, and he was the rabbi for the U.S. Army, comes to the DP camp after liberation, and he brings a Sefer Torah, a Torah scroll. And it's Friday afternoon, and he says to all the young men, look what they tried to kill us for. Please join me, and we will have a Torah service tonight together in our pajamas, in our stripes, in our rags. but we will defy them. That's what we'll do. And they all agreed, all these young men, except one, this one boy. And he said, no. And he stayed over here. And Rabbi Silver goes over to him and he says to him, young man, I see that you're very angry. And the boy says, yes. And he says, I see that you're angry at God. And the boy says, I'm not angry at God. I'm angry at his servants. And he said, what do you mean? He said, in my bunk, there was a man who was from, religious. And he managed to sneak in a prayer book. And in it, he would have all of the other people, he would charge them to read the prayers. And they would line up. And he would take their last piece of bread, their last bowl of soup, for the privilege of praying from his Siddur. So no, I'm not angry at God. I'm angry at his servants that are supposed to be so holy. This man died after liberation because he ate so much from taking from the men who just wanted a chance to pray. And Rabbi Silver looked at him and he said, why do you focus on the one man who was evil and not on the line-up of people who were willing to give away their food for a chance to pray? And the boy said, you're right. You have changed my mind. And do you know who that boy was? That was Simon Wiesenthal. Just like that in life, just like that, if you change your thinking pattern, you can change your feelings. Love is not a feeling, it's a behavior. There is something bigger, much bigger, than the need to feel loved or to give love. Let me remind you quickly why. The first human being was both male and female. Adam was both a man and a woman, a hermaphrodite, completely androgynous. And God saw it was not good for this creature to